I just want to start this video by saying this is just one way to plan a trip. We're not saying this is the best or only way, but if you're the kind of person that buys a pack of sausages when you're heading out of town for a trip from Woolies and doesn't plan their trip, this video probably isn't for you. But if you're the kind of person who likes to organize and prepare beforehand, watch on. You might find this interesting.
Should we get some like chips and dip?
G'day guys, and welcome to the bonus episode of the WA.NT Trip. So as you can probably guess, we're not on the WA.NT Trip, we're actually on Dirk Hartog Island this week. But we're going to talk about the WA.NT Trip and how it all went and how we pretty much organised and planned it. So, what did we do, Misha?
We got together and we talked about what we wanted to do.
Pretty much. So, first thing that we pretty much did was we started a document. So I'll put a link to this document down in the description of this video. And in that document, we pretty much figured out what dates we're going for. That was the first thing we did. Got a calendar together.
Knew when we had to leave, when we had to be back by.
Pretty much.
Did we want to leave Friday? Did we want to leave Saturday? Be back Sunday? Come back Wednesday, you know? We had to figure that out.
All that kind of jazz. And then we were like, well, what do we actually want to see? Like, what's the main objective of the trip? Like, where do we want to spend the most time?
And then how to get to that point, because at one point we're like, okay, let's do a loop, go to Uluru and back, but then that just didn't work out. So it was like, all right, well, we're just gonna have to go up there on the coastal route and come back the coastal route. That takes time. You want to know what you want to stop and see.
Exactly. And we also went through each day and went, how many hours of driving is that going to be? How many Ks is that going to be? Because like, some days you want to have an easy day and not do 800 Ks every day either. So that's another thing we worked out. So on the drive up there, we did a pretty much 30-hour drive. How do you think that went? Like,
oh, it was great. When you hear about other people and they're like, yeah, it took us 3 days to get there. It's like, oh, it's 3 days of my trip I just lost to what? Driving.
Pretty much. Well, for us, it's just like we drove. We got there, we slept, and the whole next day was pretty much like...
Yeah, like what's a holiday, right? Like it's all about relaxing. So I'm like, all right, I'll get to there as quick as I can and I'll relax and recuperate.
Yep, that's it.
That's just worked out for us, right?
As much as it was a long night,
yeah,
I feel like it was worth it, and I think both of us would do it again pretty much. Like,
and it depends on the drivers too.
Yeah.
Like we were pretty good. What, 4 hours, 3 hours we drive each?
Yeah, about that we kind of did.
So yeah, if you're traveling with people and they're like, yeah, I can drive during the night, that's great. If there are people who are like, no, I need my 8 hours sleep, unfortunately it may not work for you.
Alright, so after we figured out our main calendar of what we're doing, we pretty much went through and drew up the same calendar, but in the next calendar we pretty much figured out food. So how do we plan our meals? Well, we pretty much had a list of breakfasts. So it was like, what, bacon and eggs, pancakes, eggs in different forms.
Yeah, pretty much. You have to start thinking of new ways. Cereal's a pretty easy go-to.
Yeah, so
you do that like once every 3 days, you know.
If we're in a rush, like if we wanted to get moving quickly, we'd do cereal.
Where bacon and eggs, it's like, all right, this is going to be a half an hour to an hour thing, because we go all out when we do it pretty much.
And there's a lot of cleanup after. Yeah. And what do we do for lunches?
Lunches, leftovers.
Pretty much.
Awesome idea.
Like, we just always cooked more the night before, chucked it in. Actually, I'll just grab one of the containers.
It's a bit dirty from today.
Yeah, a bit dirty from today. So this is a 600ml container, and we both had a container like this. So pretty much chucked the food in there, chucked it in the fridge, and that was our lunch the next day.
And like, it just saves, you know, like, let's say you want to do sausages, all right, like, you don't have to bring out the cooker and all of that. But even if you want to do ham sandwiches, that's great, like if you can do that. But then sometimes you get sick of the same thing. Yeah. And then you could be sick of eating dinner too.
Yeah, well that's it.
But you change it up.
Another cool thing was that, like, for instance, when we were at Mitchell Falls, like, we hiked to the falls, and because our lunch was like done, it was pretty much like, grab the lunches, go to the falls, have lunch.
And you had it.
Like, you just, like, it was effortless.
And you know what they say, right? It always tastes better the next day. Well, it did.
That's it.
Me personally, I would go bigger than 600ml. It's a bit small, Michael.
Will you buy the boxes for the next trip then?
All right. We get 1 litre containers each.
Pretty much. And then there was some days that we obviously ate out because it was a holiday, and on days like that, we usually just had sausages or just something quick and easy.
Yeah.
All right, dinners. What do we do for dinners? We pretty much came up with 6 meals each.
Yep.
That we were kind of happy to cook pretty much.
Try and Google some new meals too.
Mix it up a little bit.
Expand our menus.
And it's actually funny because every trip that we've done after that trip, we look back to the planning on this trip to go, oh, what good meals could we use?
What can I cook? Yeah.
We wrote out a list, so if you guys go into the document, you'll see it. We pretty much like had the, the meal, whatever it was, and then we had the ingredients. And if we didn't know how to cook it, we'd also have the method below. So that's how we kind of figured it all out. Because later we did a shopping list, right?
Yeah, we did a shopping list once we figured out what we wanted to eat. And we wrote out, like you said, like we had the meals and then we had all the ingredients for it. We knew how much of it we need. Again, cereal, this is another point. For our cereal, we're like, how much milk do you need? I don't know. So we actually measured out our cereal to 1 cup of milk per ball, and that was all you had for the morning. Weet-Bix is just like, you just grab a packet and get some more if you need to.
But that was really good because it had, like, when you were going away, like on the Gibb River Road, I think we spent 9 days. You kind of, you need to know how much you're going to use of
and one for your pancakes as well. Like, pancakes. You needed a cup of milk for that.
If you're going to have a little bit of milk in your tea, all that kind of stuff. So with the food, we pretty much divided it into 4 different sections. So we worked out like where's the best place to buy food. So it was obviously like in the biggest town. So where do we get food? Darwin.
Stuff in Kununurra?
Yep, Kununurra, and also Broome. We just did
on the way back.
Yeah, we just
I think
did
it was just a
little shop in Broome. But what we did before we left was we pretty much bought all the meat for the first 2 weeks of the trip, and the idea with that was that we could vacuum seal it all. And
it'd be cheaper coming in Perth and more variety, weren't limited.
Very true. And then pretty much Misha's got an angle just like mine, 40 litre angle, so that was super handy because we pretty much ran Misha's as a freezer for the whole trip, which also meant we got to have ice creams.
Ice creams, yeah.
Ice creams, we always had 2 tubs of ice cream.
Yeah. And we had an extra loaf of bread too. We froze one as
we froze a loaf of bread because just like when you're out in the Gibb River Road, you can only buy frozen bread, so you may as well just take your own home.
Yeah, bring your own.
So that was really good because vacuum sealing, like how good is it? Like you save so much space on the packaging.
And the best part of all, like the packaging itself takes up no space. So when you have to carry your garbage out with you, all you got is a plastic bag. Where sometimes when you buy your let's say your minced meat in a carton sort of thing, you're like, oh man, you can't compress the plastic.
Pretty much. And then the other advantage is like you can also prepare the meat at home. So like if you're doing like a stir fry and you need chicken pieces, like you can dice the chicken. When you get to cooking it, like cut the packet open, shove it straight in the pan.
And you got to divide up the meat too. So you can buy a kilo of chicken and divide it into the 2 or 3 meals that you needed.
And then pretty much we actually labelled all of them, didn't we?
Yeah.
So that was great too.
And then we stacked it in layers from the bottom of the fridge up to which one would need first.
Pretty much. So that just made life super easy because like we had all the ingredients. Actually, we've got to talk about the shopping list as well.
Yeah.
So pretty much we wrote up the full shopping list. So 4 places we bought food from. So Perth doesn't really count. But when we got to Darwin, we pretty much had a set list already of what we needed to buy. So we literally walked into the shop. And
we didn't have to make a list on the spot. It was already done 2 weeks beforehand.
And Misha was running around the shop looking like a safety inspector with his...
had my clipboard, marking it up, checking it off, It was good. It made it easy. You knew what you wanted. In there, out there, you didn't forget nothing.
Like we just added a couple of extra snacks that we felt like at the time, but it was just like brainless. Like we literally walked in the shop, get what you need, walk out, lads.
Walk out,
So simple.
And then what did we get to do in the parking lot, Michael? How fun was it? How fun did we get
Okay, so we're sitting in Darwin in the car park at Woolies or Coles, whatever it was.
Because our 2 weeks had already been up pretty much.
We
needed our next 2 weeks worth of meat.
So we were pretty much sitting there processing our meat and vacuum sealing it in the car park, chucking it straight into the freezer.
Best part about bringing a vacuum sealer on the trip with the inverter.
Yeah, exactly. Just
meat was all done, and again, same process again, super easy in the vacuum sealer.
So we may have spent half an hour or more in the car park, but the rest of the week or week and a half, whatever,
super easy. Yeah,
super easy.
And because it's compact, which is what you need, because you need so much for the Gibb River Road because you can't buy anything there. So having a list is just the best thing, especially when it's all done beforehand. I'm not much of a person who would write out the list, but Michael sort of was onto it and motivated, and yeah, once it's done, it's
both of us were happy to do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it wouldn't have never worked.
Yeah,
like, both of us kind of like to be organised. So as far as our costs go, like, were we under budget or over budget?
Don't know.
So pretty much for 4 weeks away with food, fuel, accommodation, campsites, everything, I only spent $2,200. I don't know how much you spent, but
I can't remember. It was a while ago. I would put it at 2,000 to 3,000.
Yeah.
But still, like, even like let's say $3,000. That's $100 a day for the month. That's a cheap holiday if you consider any other holiday where you're staying at a resort, or even if you're paying a tour guide. Like, it's so expensive to do that. So
pretty much with that, we like estimated our fuel costs. Like, we're like, oh, we're gonna do 10,000 Ks at 13 litres per 100. So the diesel alone we worked out was $2,300. Then we just went through camping costs and national parks, caravan parks, and all that. We needed a couple of permits as well. So that was just pretty much how we worked out our expenses. So if you're interested in that, also just have a look at the document.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, let's just talk about this beautiful packing box here.
Packing box.
Do you know that?
Yeah.
So how did we organise, like, don't throw my container.
Oh, she'll be right. She'll be right.
How do you keep it fair with what you can take? Well, pretty much I went to Misha like, this is your box, mate.
And I said, get stuff.
But pretty much, like, for the sake of like modular storage, we had a box each. So pretty much you just like kept all our clothes, kind of, you know, all your kind of toiletries in there, all the rest of that kind of stuff. And that, it just makes it easy and nice because they stack. So we just had them in the back seats, had a strap over them.
Yeah. We took the back seats out.
Took the back seats out.
Had them in there.
And
the only thing that didn't go in there was your shoes.
Yeah, your
thankfully enough. We tucked them out.
I was nice to you.
Thanks.
So how do you feel about the box idea? Like, do you feel like it works well?
Yeah, it's really good. Oh man, I've done trips with people and you're like, small bag, okay? Small bag. They're bringing like a full-size duffel bag for a month trip when it was only a 2-week trip, and you're just like, oh man, like, who's suffering now? It's me, because I gotta try and move your thing off the fridge or move it there. Nah, boxes. Equality solves a lot of problems when it comes to this. But Michael, so how did you bring a month's worth of clothes?
A month's worth of clothes. So pretty much, we most of the time had enough water to do basic laundry. So when we say basic laundry, get a bucket, get some liquid detergent, chuck it in there, leave it to soak, give it a good, you know,
hand wash,
and then because it's so hot up there, everything dries so fast.
And you're not really getting dirty, you're just getting the sweat out and that.
So
pretty much.
I think I literally had 4 days or 5 days worth of clothes in my box, and we're in a hot environment too, so you don't.
And you go and swim in every other minute, so.
You're pretty much in your like swimwear most of the day anyway.
Pretty much.
So it's just, depends how you want to run it, but it's just nice when you can have less clothes, because like clothes take up a lot of room, like it's pretty annoying.
Yeah, like these boxes are small, no doubt about it, especially when you have to fit everything in there. So to wash and wear is the best way to do it. But it depends on how much space you have in your car. But
that too.
At the same time, keep it basic's always the best way to do it. With our trip, you got to be careful because the days can be hot, but the nights are cool. So I was cold at night. I could have brought more warm gear, but even I was wearing long pants and a jumper. So it's not, except for a full winter jacket. There wasn't.
I didn't wear long pants a single time. Like Misha's just a bit of a cold one.
Yeah, I'm cold.
Can you believe he went to Canada for 3 months? I don't know. I think you're still thawing out, aren't you?
I still am. I still prefer the hot weather. Highlights of the trip?
Highlights of the trip.
Oh, doing the Gibb River Road. That was one big highlight because I've been wanting to do that for ages.
I love Litchfield. Like, as packed as it was, Litchfield was really nice. Like, I'd definitely go back there again. Kakadu, if there was more water, would just be absolutely stunning as well.
The thing I like about Litchfield is it's just so accessible. Like, you don't need anything special. You can get there, and it's just amazing to see. So yeah, every man and his dog's there. But if you go at the right time, it's really nice.
That's it.
Kakadoo's cool, but we should have done a cruise.
Let's talk
cruise.
about what we would change next time. Yeah. So pretty much a cruise.
A cruise. Learn, like, go see the crocs, go learn about them, and see the wetlands. Like, we didn't really see that, so it's what we probably missed out, and we'll have to do next time.
That's it. So that's one thing. Another thing was, when we were doing the Gibb River Road, we didn't actually get up to Columbaroo. That was probably a bit of a mistake, because like when you're just seeing gorge every single day, you kind of get gorged out. Like you're so used to seeing beautiful things, you kind of like, you know what? It'd be nice to go to the beach for a change. Like, so I think.
Well, I don't know if you'd be able to swim in there. There's crocs.
Yeah, well, there's trucks.
But it's good to like get out of the red dirt and dry arid spot and just go like to the coast, because what is it? 200 k's further, then, just out, like just that little bit different.
Just keep going.
Check it out, you know, like be something different. So yeah, that would have been cool had we done that. But
what do you do?
Mitchell Falls was another highlight.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Mitchell Falls is awesome.
Because that was on the way. But Mitchell Falls is like one of those things. Is just like if you're going to the Gibb, you got to see Mitchell Falls because it's just so grand.
It's worth the extra couple of days just spent to get to Mitchell, because it's just a beautiful place. How did we choose what we're gonna do? I think we had arguments about it.
He knew about the Gibb River Road already because Michael had done it. So he pretty much organized that.
Just research.
Yeah, like, and talking to friends.
Yeah,
like
talking
we had
to friends.
A few friends who had done that sort of stuff.
So like, yeah, just Googling different places, like Google Maps.
Yeah.
It's all very handy to try and figure out where to go and what to see.
The one thing I'd have to say, like with looking at this is a guide. Like, even for us, I think we mixed meals. Like there was one night we couldn't have the pizzas because you need a fire for it. Or we ended up doing it elsewhere, or it was something opposite, or let's say we were going to cook something but we didn't because we ended up eating out. Another thing was like even the places we did camp, we were in Broome and we ended up talking to some people and they're like, no, don't even bother going to Cape Leveque to the tip. That's just what they told us. If you're not fishing, no worries. So we went to where we did go, and that was just so good. Like, so it's just a guide, you know? Like,
yeah, like
don't have to.
It was very flexible. Like well, you got to change it because you don't want to make it like a, you know, military march kind of thing. Stay in line, but
But the next benefit is it's all planned. You have enough food or more than enough food, rather than going out there and be like, oh man, we got no food.
Pretty much.
What were we thinking? So.
Alrighty guys, well I think that pretty much sums it up. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys found this video interesting, and yeah, feel free to check out that document if you want to see how exactly we planned it. But otherwise, we'll catch you in another video.
Take it easy.
And guess who's cooking tonight?
Hey.
Chicken palmy, mate. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, me too.
Do Uber Eats come out here?
Denham's just over there.
Denham's just over there.
They must got a boat, they just come over, you know?
Alright guys, see you later.
Adios.
How do you think that went?
Pretty good.
Seek adventure!